My name is Steve Lord, and I'm a drum instructor. I try to make it educational and fun for the student while being valuable for the parent. Fun for the student. I like to talk to them about their likes and dislikes, what's interesting to them as far as drums, and what they're into. Maybe they're into jazz, or maybe they're into rock, or whatever it is, and I like to base their education on that. All drumming is related, whether you're into jazz or rock or metal or whatever it is. It all relates. So I think it's important to ask the student what they like. Take that initial liking, an initial spark, and kind of build it into a fire. Fun for the student where we are able to get around the entire drum set. When I was taking lessons, we started on a rubber pad, and we learned sticking, and which is important, yes, but that was pretty boring. Once again, I like to take that initial spark with the student's interest, and you can just see it in their face. You know, they're really into this, the thing they're into. They're really into it. What if it's a Travis Barker lick or some sort of double bass lick or whatever? Well, it might be a rudiment, and the student doesn't really realize that. And then once they see that's a rudiment, they start asking more about the rudiments, and that's where you build that fire from. It's great. It's great. We can take a song and transcribe it and write it down into musical notation, and that way it's a nice introduction to reading music, to where the student can see how this drum beat or song that they've been listening to and liking for so long, see how it looks on paper. Practicing on a regular basis not only obviously makes the student better at the instrument, but gives them a sense of structure, gives them a little bit of sense of discipline. I think that 20 minutes a day, every day, 20 minutes a day, you can improve in great amounts. Discipline. I think that 20 minutes a day, every day, 20 minutes a day, you can improve in great amounts just by doing 20 minutes a day on specific exercises that are difficult. You don't go home and practice your ABCs because you already know them. That's useless. Practicing a drum beat you already know isn't as valuable as practicing a beat that you're unsure of. You should always be uncomfortable in your practice sessions, because if you're uncomfortable, that means you're learning something new. I've had students come in that have been having a bit of problem with band studies. They're in their school band and they're kind of unsure about this or that or whatever it is. We can hone in on those skills as well in drum lessons. That's what drum lessons are for, a one-on-one basis where we can hone in on the specific problems and make it interesting and create a great learning experience. That's what it's all about, a great learning experience. In the drum studio, we have two drum sets side by side. I think that's the best way to learn, where I get a drum set, the student gets a drum set, and we learn from there. I have an iPod, I have a computer, I have a CD player. We can learn songs off of those. We have a VCR with the old VHS tapes. We can study older drummers. I have a xylophone in there. We can learn percussion studies. Books on all styles. I'm an avid collector of books. We have a mirror in there. Really helps with the hand technique. We set up two practice pads in front of the mirror, and the student can watch their hands as well as my hands in the mirror, and it is highly effective. Parents ask me, how much the equipment costs for drum lessons. If it's an absolute beginner, I tell them a pair of sticks and a practice pad for a total of about $35 is a very good start. If the student sticks with the pad and the pair of sticks and practices on a daily basis what I give them for 2 months, that's a pretty good indication that they're actually interested in drumming and it's not a fleeting interest. I'm a parent myself and I understand the fleeting interest thing, but once again, I think that if a student is practicing on their practice pad with the sticks for 2 months, that's a very good sign that they are interested in taking it to the next, which would be either getting a snare drum or a full drum set. Most of my students have been with me for 5 years. Some have been with me for 8 years. I have, on the average, 35 students a week, and once again, most of them have been with me for 5 years or more. And I think that's a pretty good indication at how I'm able to keep the lessons interesting and keep the ideas going and keep fresh ideas coming. And I think exuberance and excitement are the key. If you're excited about the drums, which I am, that will rub off on the student and they'll get excited. And they'll be excited about coming to drum lessons and excited about practicing during the week. And it's all about getting an interest and getting excitement going. I take kids 6 years and up. I have taken 5-year-old students, but I do explain to the parent that it's usually 15 minutes of learning time, and then the last 15 minutes is used for basically drum fun time. I do have adults that come in that have never played a drum, never held a drumstick before. They just decided that they wanted to do it, and that's great too. I love that. And it's so funny because they always ask me, am I too old to do this? You're never too old to learn something new. And as long as you're enjoying it, doesn't matter. That's the most important part. You're not doing this for a job. You're not doing this for money. You're doing this for enjoyment. So do it. It's great. I was born in St. Louis, and I took lessons for years with the head of the Webster Music Department at Webster University. Along with him, I did take some other lessons with specialty people, some orchestra players, and I did practice a lot. And I do play in various musical situations. It's great. The teaching thing is the main gig for me. I really do enjoy teaching all my students. I get very excited about the teaching process, and I think that excitement kind of rubs off on them, and they get excited, and it's a great positive experience. You can read all the books you want about teaching, you can read all techniques of teaching, but I think you have to love the teaching process, and you have to love kids. And it's amazing. I get such fulfillment this activity of teaching drums, teaching percussion, showing students how excited I am about it, and getting them excited.